if a baby needs extra fluid, they need more milk. They don't need more water. Water has no nutritional content at all. As adults, we drink water because we will not get enough water in our food. For us, it's different. But what babies are drinking is mostly water. The content of milk is mostly water.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the podcast Learniverse, a program designed to educate people on diverse range of content. I'm your host Rohan Ahmed, joining you from the studios of MTA International Gambia. And today, whether you are a parent, you are a caretaker, you are simply someone who is interested to learn about the early childhood development, then this podcast will give you valuable insight to it. And to discuss that with us, we are joined by Dr. Hamad Khan, who is a consultant neonatologist from the UK. And he's currently in the Gambia, so welcome to the program, and it's a pleasure to have you today.
Jazakallah. Thank you for having me here on MTA. It's a pleasure to be here.
No, it's definitely an honor to have you. And Dr. Saab, I know this isn't your first time coming to the Gambia.
Yeah.
And so before we delve into the questions, I want to ask you, what motivates you to come to the Gambia time and again?
So thank you for the question. And again, it's a pleasure to be here on the podcast. I know that you do a number of different topics here and lots of education for people. So I've been coming to the Gambia now for about 8 years. And my work, what has brought me here has been my work and association with Humanity First, but also as a pediatrician. That is what I am. That's the work that I do. I work day to day in London, working on a newborn intensive care unit. So I feel a responsibility to look after children, but not just the children that I look after there in London, but children wherever in the world. That may be the case, that they need care. And when the opportunity arose for me to come to the Gambia, then I took that opportunity. And by the grace of Allah, it's been a really good opportunity, and I've been able to do a lot along with colleagues who have come with me over the last few years.
May Allah Almighty, bless you and your colleagues for this noble cause. So let's move on with the questions. So starting with the first one, what are the most common misconceptions concerning babies?
It's difficult to know where to start with this question because there is such a lot.
Yeah.
And we live in an age where misconceptions become amplified hugely because of social media. But even before there was social media, there were some ideas around health, and especially around babies, that became very, very prevalent within society. And I can say what is interesting in some ways is how many of those ideas become prevalent across different societies, no matter what the background is, and whether that is Pakistani society, whether it is British society, whether it is Gambian society. Some of these ideas cut across all of those different spectrums of different societies. So when often we see newborn babies, one of the most important aspects of their health need that parents understandably worry about is their feeding. Whether babies are feeding well, are they getting enough milk? And often, very sadly, mothers feel that their own milk, their breast milk, is not enough for the baby. But it's very rarely the case that it's not enough milk. But unfortunately, that becomes an idea, either that the mother thinks that their milk is not good enough, or somehow that it's bad or expired, or that it's not enough milk for their baby. And unfortunately, sometimes that idea becomes perpetuated by family members, by extended family, who also say, well, you know, your baby is very hungry and the mother's milk is not enough milk, and therefore they push the idea that the baby should have some other milk, should have some formula milk or something else, and that is in itself a very, very bad idea, and not because formula milk in itself is a bad milk, but because the best milk that a baby can be getting for its growth, nutrition, and its brain growth, and to protect it from infection, is mother's milk. And especially in a country like the Gambia, where being able to prepare formula milk in a safe way, in a clean way, in a sterile way, is more challenging, the risk that a baby who is receiving formula milk can get an infection, and a bad infection, which could cause it great harm. And even in some cases, these children die because of these infections. Formula milk poses that risk. And as I said, for the vast majority of mothers, there is no need for them to have any other milk. A lot of mothers will need support to be able to feed their child. And that support should be available. That should be the thing that we're focusing on as a society, to support mothers to be able to feed their babies. So I think that's one big thing. Another thing closely associated with that is an idea that babies, especially in warm climates, that babies need perhaps some extra water as well as the milk that they're receiving. Okay. And again, I don't think that is a good idea. That's a bad idea. If a baby needs extra fluid, they need more milk. They don't need more water. Water has no nutritional content at all. As adults, we drink water because we will not get enough water in our food. For us, it's different. But what babies are drinking is mostly water. The content of milk is mostly water, and so they should be able to take that milk. And if a child is thirsty, they need more milk, not more water.
Okay. Thank you for that. Just in connection to this first question, like, there is an established practice in subcontinent and here in Africa as well about the massage of babies.
Yes.
So does that really help? How beneficial that is? If it is, what is your take on that?
I actually think it is very beneficial for a number of reasons. And perhaps people might be critical that, oh, doctors, they say these things, that we shouldn't do these things, but these are our long traditional things, and they don't know. They have these new ideas, and every so often they will change their ideas. And I think that, we have to, as doctors, I have to look at what the evidence is. I have to look at whether something can be shown to be a good thing or a bad thing. God Almighty has, for the example of mother's milk, God Almighty has created that milk in mothers for babies to feed. That is the best milk. When it comes to something like massage, which is a strong tradition, as you said, in the Indian subcontinent and here in Africa, it's a good thing. It's a healthy thing for a number of reasons. And the first of those reasons is that often the oil that gets used to massage the baby is very good for the skin. And it helps to build up the protection in the skin and protection against other problems, dryness of the skin, eczema, infection, those sorts of things. When we massage a baby, we are stimulating the baby's senses and its muscles and its reflexes. And that is also a very, very good thing for the baby, to help it to learn to develop and to move and to grow. And the third way in which massage becomes very, very good is it helps to form a bond between the person who is giving the massage and the baby as well. And that can be a very close bond, and whether it's a mother or a grandmother or even a father, a grandfather, that bond then is a good thing. It helps to develop relationships, and it helps the baby also to learn how that positive touch is a good thing as part of a loving relationship.
No, thank you very much for clarifying that. And what about vaccinations? How crucial and important is that for parents to understand concerning vaccination for the infants?
So I think this is something that can't be emphasized enough, really.
Okay.
The importance of vaccinations and how critical it is that babies get vaccinations and get the vaccinations on time. So the Gambia, just like the UK and other countries, follow the World Health Organization guidelines on early vaccinations in childhood. And those vaccinations protect children against really very serious illnesses. And because vaccination has become so prevalent, because we are using vaccination so much, those illnesses in society have become less. And so perhaps in people's minds, the seriousness of those infections isn't there. When those infections were very common, and I'm talking about 30, 40 years ago when vaccinations weren't there, then these were illnesses that would cause great damage to babies and young children, and even cause death as well. And that is a recorded thing, it's a known thing. And so, these things, whether it is as part of the early immunizations, things like tetanus, polio, whooping cough, these are all illnesses can be very, very serious. And I have seen these illnesses in very young children, and they are serious illnesses and should be taken seriously. And the best way to take them seriously is to prevent them by giving vaccination.
Exactly. Yeah. So, it is also completely natural for parents to feel anxious when seeing their child or infant being in a state of fever. So, what are the steps that parents need to take when they find their child or baby in this state?
Yeah. So I would say when it comes to fever, and in general, it is not uncommon for children to get infections. It's very common for children to get infections. And sometimes those infections can be serious and sometimes not so serious. For very young children, for newborn infants, certainly up to a month of age, and I would even extend that up to about 6 months of age. When they get a fever, that should be taken seriously. So for the very young infants, a fever should be taken seriously. Okay. And in the first month of life, if a baby has fever, then they should be taken immediately to see a doctor, and they should be checked. So there should be no delay in that. Up to 6 months of age, then the baby should be watched very carefully for any signs, other signs other than fever. And if the baby is not feeding well, if the baby is vomiting excessively, if the baby has severe diarrhea, and if the baby is very quiet and is not waking up, then these are all warning signs and a reason to take the baby to see the doctor. Over that age, sometimes these illnesses can be mild illnesses, but they still need to be watched. Okay. And if there are signs that the child is becoming dehydrated, they're not getting enough fluid into them because they're vomiting too much, or they have some diarrhea, or they're not taking enough fluid and they're not passing enough urine, then they should be taken to the doctor to be checked. If they have a rash with fever, they should be taken to be checked by the doctor.
Thank you for that.
When babies are very, very young, they tend to just move their arms and legs around rather at random. They will look around, but they won't really fix on anything. By the time a baby is about 6 weeks of age, they should be able to fix on your eyes and follow you around.